Are we live? We are live according to StreamYard. If StreamYard is not lying to us, we're very live right now. Oh, look at that. We are live. We are actually live. Beautiful. What's up, everybody? This is another home podcast. So there's a lot going on right now. Obviously, December 21st, Brawl in the Burgh 25. We got a very relevant podcast for that. Carly Joe first in. What a pro. She probably just saw the 247 is live notification on her phone and clicked that accidentally. But it's okay. I'm going to pretend like you had this marked. Will Moriarty, Mike Rattani, Evan DeRusi. Oh my goodness. It's like all the fighters hopping in this thing. Let's go. Let's go. Our chat can kick your chat's ass. That's a fact. That's a fact. But we're here, obviously at home again. I was okay. When's Sprawl in the Burgh? Fantastic question. Fantastic first question in here. We're a couple minutes early, just to kind of set the stage for what's to come, guys. We have Zach Drzemiecki and Tarik Smith going to join this podcast today, remotely, obviously, not in the studio. Our new venue is coming along beautifully. Ryan and I were just there today, and it is incredible. I can't honestly believe the progress that's been made there and how good it looks. Jim Taylor, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too, sir. What a guy. Jim Taylor. Go follow that guy in the chat if you're on Instagram and seeing him. And Will Moriarty says he'll be watching. You will. You will indeed, Will. I can't wait. I know specifically why you'll be watching. And yeah, well, February 1st looking pretty juicy for you there, brother. So stay ready. Stay ready. We'll get you in there very soon. So, yeah, we were at the venue today. Got a couple minutes here before Zach joins us. So the progress has been just insane, guys, at the venue. I walked in and the floor is like pretty much ready to roll. It's looking nice. You know, there's still a lot of stuff, a lot of construction everywhere. I don't want to seem like we could go in and have a show tomorrow or anything, but by February 1st, that place is going to be so beautiful. And the progress the team's made there, Doug Mosides and his team, Gary and their crew in there putting in that hard work, the real work. So they're doing a great job. And I'm just, every time I'm in there, I get a little more excited about how good it's going to look. So February 1st, we're unveiling that thing. Good warm-up area for the fighters, Evan says. Funny enough, Evan, that was a huge point of conversation today while we were there. So yes, the short answer is yes. We spent specifically time and energy and planning today to make sure that the warm-up area was even better than we had planned, because obviously that's super important for you guys. I fully understand that. I want it to be amazing as well. And here's the thing to keep in mind with the venue. However it is on February 1st is not how it's going to be on February 1st of 2026. Like, we're going to reinvest in this place. We're going to make it even better as it goes. So trust me on that. Like, however it is on February 1st, which is already going to be awesome, it's going to just get better and better and better. And we're there for a long time. You know, we got a 10-year lease. So we got a lot of time to turn this into the ultimate MMA, combat sports, event space, multi-purpose event space in Pittsburgh. And that's fully our intention. So just to go back to Pittsburgh Flacco, Sprawl in the Burgh, this hasn't been announced yet. This is a podcast exclusive. Sprawl in the Burgh 4 is going to take place March 29th, 2025 at Sunny Days Arena at the venue. So that will be our first full cage grappling card at the venue, and also our newest cage grappling card since, obviously, Sprawl in the Burgh 3. It's kind of a dumb thing to say, but it has been a while since we've done a full cage grappling card. And there are a lot of reasons behind that we're going to dig into, I'm sure, as time moves forward. Excuse me. Wow, so rude. Unbelievable. Just burping on the podcast. But there are reasons why we have not done a full cage grappling card since then. And ultimately, it boils down to wanting to make it perfect for you guys. You know, it's a different sport than MMA. It was Sprawl in the Burgh 1, like, just backtracking to that for a second. When I think about when we launched the cage grappling series, Sprawl in the Burgh 1, such an insane card. I mean, Dante Leone and PJ Barch at the top, Isaac Greeley versus Gray Maynard. Everyone else that was on that card, there were just studs all over that card. And I think it really made a splash. You know, if you guys are in the grappling game, you obviously know what Dante and PJ have continued to do in the space. Max Hansen has kind of set the world on fire a little bit as well. He's just continued to rise the ranks. And to have that level of talent on the first card was super special. And with that comes a lot of costs. And it's tough, man. It's seriously tough. It's really tough to make the financial side of it work without getting too in the weeds. Grappling is different than MMA. In MMA, there's kind of this expectation that you're going to sell tickets and this expectation that the fighters help push the fights. And in grappling, that's not necessarily how the grappling world is set up. And then you got somebody like Craig Jones. I see you in the background, Zach. I see you. I'm going to tag you in here officially in like 5 seconds after I finish this sentence. But Zach Drzemiecki just joined, so that's awesome. I'm going to tag him in. But yeah, Sprawl in the Burgh 4 is going to be March 29th, guys. So if you are a grappler and you want on that card, hit us up. We got you. We got you. And Gunny MC, what's up, dude? Nice to see you here too, Mr. McCraw. That is beautiful. All right, Zach, I'm tagging you in right now. Get that game face ready. Let's go, baby. What's up, dude?
What is up?
Not much, man. How's everything going your way?
Oh, fantastic. Feeling great.
Got the Stout shirt. Got the fresh mustache, it looks like, too. That thing's nicely trimmed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Getting it ready.
Is that like do you always have a mustache like year round, or is it a fight stash?
Oh, no, it's a lifestyle now. I've been rocking it since before Top Gun, so.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. How's everything going, dude? You said your schedule's kind of nuts when fight camp kicks in. So what does a day in the life of Drizzy really look like?
Like waking up at like 3:15, going to the gym, getting my workout in, and then going to do excavation all day for like probably 8 to 10 hours, and then coming home and then hitting like a 3-hour training session.
Yeah, that made me tired just hearing you say it, dude. Waking up at 3:15. What time do you go to bed?
Probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock, depending on how late training is.
That's pretty reasonable. Okay. And where do you do the majority of your training? I'll be honest, with all these Stout locations and everybody split up, I'm kind of not sure who's where these days.
I'm mainly in the Strip District.
Nice. Okay. So I gotta run it back a little bit because dude in the chat just said KO of the year when you joined. So I'm gonna play a video real quick of your knockout, and then we're gonna talk about it after it plays. But here, I'm gonna play the clip for people who haven't seen it yet. This was Zach Drzemiecki's last fight against Gabe Cruz for us in the 247 cage, and yeah, like the comment says, might just be KO of the year. Hasn't been decided yet, but it might be.
We'll see.
So we're gonna play the clip, and then we'll hear Zach's thoughts on it. All right. So first things first, your reaction made for some of the best post-fight pictures I think that we've ever had. What? And if you watch the video closely, you can see you were celebrating almost before he even hit the ground. You knew that was it. That was
I was turning and looking at Coach Will and Lucas as soon as I did it. I was like, no fucking way. Sorry, excuse my language.
We need the bleep.
Sorry.
We need the censor music back up. Yeah, so for people who haven't seen it, in his post-fight interview, Zach dropped about 400 F-bombs in the span of 3 minutes. It was actually an impressive pace. I got to give you some credit on that one. But yeah. What, in all seriousness, I mean, the fight, it was a good fight up to that point. You know, obviously such a walk-off knockout, you know, kind of steals the show. But what gets lost in that is that Gabe looked really good up until that knockout punch. It wasn't like you were just breezing through him and then got the knockout. But what were you feeling in that fight?
I mean, I was feeling good. Like, I mean, he was throwing some power, but I mean, nothing I haven't ever seen before, especially like sparring with, you know, the guys down at Stout. So, I mean, I was getting hit, but like, I was like, nothing really fazed me to enough where I had like an oh crap moment. So I just kept pushing forward.
Obviously, the punch landed. You knew it landed. You knew it was lights out right then. What were you feeling right then? Obviously, we saw the emotion, but talk me through that.
I mean, I can't even describe it honestly. It was just nuts. I've never done that before in general, so let alone in front of a couple thousand people. That's pretty sweet, or a couple hundred, however many.
There were probably over 1,000 there that night.
Yeah,
That's a good number. We pull good crowds. This crowd in December is going to be awesome too.
it's gonna be nuts.
Dude, Brian Mitchell in the chat, you're gonna like this. He said, "True story. I've knocked Zach out with that same punch in sparring before."
I don't know about that, but
Oh man,
love you, Brian.
that's great. So obviously, Brian being in the chat, for people who don't know, Brian Mitchell, also from Stout, he has a fight against Josiah Leduc that same night, December 21st at Brawl in the Burgh 25. So what's it
Oh yeah.
like with the whole team? And I know the whole team was involved your last card too when you got that knockout of the year contender. What's it feel like to just have the squad all there and rolling on the same night?
Oh, it's great. Like we all just feed off each other, which is great. We're all working together in the back, so everything works out. We're all pretty close, so we all fight for each other.
Nice, man. I've heard a lot of stories about the celebration backstage and everything. It sounded like the whole crew was pretty hyped with your knockout. How long did the high last for you? How long were you on just total cloud nine?
Weeks,
Nice.
legitimately. Yeah. So I don't know. Anytime I watched it, or like anytime someone came up to me and asked about it, I was happy to show them. Feel like I've probably watched it like over 100 times.
So that's funny. The video you guys just saw, if you're watching this stream, was video that our guy Anthony Brandy, our video guy, shot cage side. But there's obviously another angle on the live stream from the cameras that caught it live and everything. Which angle do you prefer? Which video do you come back to show people?
I like the 247 one, like the actual production one. I feel like that one's the best.
Yeah. The one not shot through the cage, you mean?
Yes, that one.
I got you. Dude, yeah, that was a special knockout. I think one thing about it is like you don't see many one-shot walk-off knockouts like that in general, across even in the UFC, you don't see them that often. But especially at amateur flyweight, man. That was pretty crazy to see that kind of power from a flyweight. And you said earlier, you'd never done that before ever. So did you know you had that kind of power that you could just completely shut off the lights with one?
Well, now I know it's definitely there, but I mean, I always knew like, I got power in like my left hand, but I mean, now it's, so I just put it on display. So now everyone knows now.
I got the hound dog in the chat.
Hell yeah. That's my dog.
OG day one.
Uh-huh.
That the strip
He's the one
district
who got
crew,
me into this.
he's responsible for getting you into this.
Oh yeah, well, he's the one who started training with me, and then he, one who asked me if I wanted to fight, and then he was my first coach.
Nice, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I never knew that. So let's retrace the steps a little bit. Let's figure out where the legend of Drizzy began. What was your first interaction with combat sports? Where did it all begin for you?
Probably started wrestling when I was like probably 4 or 5, and then
Nice.
wrestled all the way up through high school, and then kind of just stopped wrestling after high school, and just I don't know, always stayed in shape, worked out. I did some powerlifting whenever I was younger. Did some open wrestling tournaments like probably like 6 years ago. So I've always just kept in shape as an athlete.
Nice, man. Where'd you grow up? Are you from the area originally?
Yeah, I grew up in Reserve Township, like Shaler.
Perfect. Yeah, man. I mean, you bring a good crowd out to your fights. That's something that you're known for, is kind of your cheering section. And I know obviously they've all got tickets for this one coming up as well. So I'm sure you're expecting to feel the energy from them. But
Oh,
what kind of,
absolutely.
because I've heard from fighters sometimes, that can add pressure, knowing that all your friends and family are in the crowd, front row, ready to watch you. How do you feed into them on fight night?
Pressure is good. I mean, pressure makes a diamond, so but try not to put too much pressure on yourself though. Just you gotta try and have all the pressure, but then when you're going in there's try and let it all go, have fun. Just know that everyone's there for you, and whether you win or lose, they're there for you.
Love that. Love that. We got Josh Polance, Luke Martin, and Sukas Liebert all just joined the chat. So some dudes you may be
Dogs.
familiar with there. All dogs, all day. What's a round like in the strip district for people who aren't familiar with Stout? You know, one of the things that always stands out to me personally is kind of the camaraderie that you guys have as a team. I notice it all the time, especially, you know, on social media, the way you guys interact with each other. It seems like you're not just training partners, but you guys are genuinely friends as well outside of the gym. So what's the gym culture like there? How would you talk about what Stout's, you know, done
I'd
for
say
you?
it's pretty tight brotherhood. We all support each other no matter what we're doing, and we all feed off each other. You know, when you see someone else doing great, you want to like try and match that. So it's a good like friendly competition. Like you see someone doing good, and then you just want to try and recreate that, or do even better.
Yeah. As a mixed martial artist, do you have a favorite teammate of yours to watch fight? Do you get like jazzed up when one of your teammates specifically gets a fight?
Um, Always when Hound Dog fights, 'cause that's my dog. Lucas, he's nasty. I love watching Luke. Everyone really. There's no one, anybody on the team. I just love watching. So, it doesn't really matter who it is. Just
How
because
do you handle Yeah, for sure, man. How do you handle it on fight night though? Like obviously there's a lot of stout guys on the card, but you also have to compete. Are you able to watch their fights? How do you handle that backstage as you're getting ready?
it was nice because my last one I fought second, and I forget who fought first right before me. But we had like 1, 2, 3 right in a row, and then like a gap, and then Hound Dog fought. So I was able to actually like watch them all, which was actually pretty sweet. But then as soon as Hound Dog was done, I was celebrating my ass off.
But yeah, so this time, obviously, we haven't announced the official fight order, but you're not going to be first or second this time. I'll spill the beans on that. You're going to be pretty late in the card. So how do you think you'll do it this time? Because obviously you got Tyler Fleming, Brian Mitchell also on the card. You got some teammates ready to throw down as well.
Just stay patient. Just wait for my time. Just chill out, wait for my warm up, and then come in hot.
Nice. And Max Jarrell, obviously. How could I forget him? That little
Maximus.
savage. Maximilian, who I heard he was upset with Drew Shannon for not pronouncing his name correctly, I guess, during his call out. So we got to work on that this time. Dude, Drew's got his work cut out with you too. You might have when people just see your last name, like what are some of the best pronunciations you've ever heard of your last name?
The best is some random person actually got it right on the first try, and I was like, "Do you actually know me?" And they're like, "No," and I was like, "That's wild."
That's insane. Can you say it? Because I feel like you told me how to say it, but I'm still not positive.
Yeah, Drzemiecki. Like
Okay, so
Drzemiecki. It
okay,
doesn't look like that, but I mean, that's how you pronounce it.
it definitely doesn't, but okay, so that feels good though, because I've been getting it right since you kind of texted it to me. But one thing I got to bring up, dude, you get this knockout of the year contender, you win the meat bucks, but you haven't showed up to spend your meat bucks yet, bro.
I know.
Come on.
I should be coming this weekend.
You gotta fight camp. You gotta fight December 21st. Like there's no better time to fuel up than during fight camp.
True.
No, I had to bust your balls a little because Brad also from Strip District Meats for people who maybe haven't heard of Meat Bucks. For every event, one of our sponsors, amazing guys at Strip District Meats. He's not only a huge MMA fan, but a huge supporter of the local scene as well. So Brad Bangle there at Strip District Meats, they donate a gift card, and then there's a vote, and you vote for the best performance of the night. It's kind of like a UFC performance of the night bonus. And Zach won it for his knockout. So he has like a shopping spree just waiting for him at Strip
I know.
District.
I'm excited. I can't wait for it. Actually,
have you been mapping out what you're going to buy, like
I
planning
was
your
I
list?
was looking at some things. I was thinking of I can't remember the name of them now. But I can't wait though. Honestly, my mouth just like waters thinking about it. I want
And
the rash guard too, the most actually.
that's a really sick perk, man. I was just there with Nico Petrides, won it from our last show in October, and he got the rash guard when he was there, and it just reminded me how sick that thing is. It's super nice rash guard.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait for that.
I like the fact as well that he doesn't sell that rash guard or anything. Like the only way you get it is by winning meat bucks. It's like a badge of honor kind of situation.
It's like a Super Bowl trophy,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But on the fight itself, man, I think one thing that has just fans and us, everybody who knows about it, just completely jazzed. Obviously, you're undefeated, 3-0. You're coming off arguably the knockout of the year. It would kind of surprise me at this point if that doesn't win knockout of the year, but you never know what could happen in December.
Yeah, still another one, still another card left.
For sure.
Yeah.
And now you draw a super tough test, dude. Tarik Smith is well known in the area. His game is super dynamic. He's a beast. What excites you about this matchup, and what do you know about Tarik?
Um, young, exciting striker. He's gonna bring the heat, and I don't know. I'm ready for it. I'm super excited. I really don't know what to say other than that. You know, I don't want to say anything, negative. I don't even know him personally, so wish him, he has a good rest of his camp, and let's go.
Are you a guy that watches a lot of film, or do you kind of just like to go out and try to do your thing regardless of what they're trying to do?
I try to watch film, but like my first fight, we were both making our debuts. My second fight, I watched one of his fights. My last one was against Gabe, so I couldn't watch anything on him. But I mean, if they do have fights, I'd absolutely try to. It's never a bad thing to study and prepare.
Yeah, have you been on a card with him? I know you've both fought for Maidman. I wasn't sure if you guys were both on that card or not.
No, I don't believe so. He's been on cards with like Hound Dog and a couple other buddies, but
Got you.
mhm.
Hogaback has a question. What if Drizzy wins first and second place KO of the year? Would he get equity in strip district meets? I mean, that's a Brad question, If the knockout's that good, I mean, who knows? Who knows what
Yeah,
Brad might give him?
we'll see. We'll see.
That's hilarious, man. So what's the process for you getting down to 25 look like? Because it's kind of funny you said you were a power lifter. You did some powerlifting as well back in the day, which kind of
Well,
shows because you go
the
ahead.
funny thing was when I was powerlifting, I was only weighing like 129 pounds. So like I wrestled like a senior at like 126. So it's kind of like it's super easy to get there. Honestly, it's weight cuts the easiest part for me. If that's like my weight, if that's the one thing I don't have to worry about during the whole fight camp, that's perfect. So
That's nice. I mean, how many even I know a couple UFC fighters missed weight today from what I saw. I just saw a couple tweets about guys missing weight today. So it's a big deal, man. And it's important to make weight for sure. But
mhm.
obviously you said it's easy for you. Like what does fight week look like for you? Not only in terms of weight cut, but just your preparation and your process.
Just still hitting some training sessions. Not going super hard, but still getting a good sweat in. Sauna, a lot of stretching. Um, trying to stay hydrated, but like not pounding too much. But yeah,
That's a good luxury to have to be able to just kind of consume some fluids on fight week. I know a lot of dudes come in looking like skeletons, so that's nice that you don't have to be that guy.
hmm
Will Moriarty just with the comment of the podcast so far, he said, "Dude eats tuna plain just for fun. He'll make weight." Is
that's
this
actually
true?
true. So that's funny as hell.
Just like, do you get the pouches or a can?
Yeah, I like the pouches actually. I like the hickory smoked flavor.
Hickory smoked tuna. So unfortunately, I don't think Strip District Meats carries any fish. So you're gonna have to figure out
No, that's all
how to
right.
get.
Believe me, I'll be able to find some meat there.
That's awesome, dude. But yeah, man, I'm obviously stoked about this fight. Anytime it's kind of Pittsburgh versus Pittsburgh, I feel like it has a little extra zing to it. It's a sick matchup though, also just in terms of where you guys are at in your careers. Two of not just the best flyweights in Pittsburgh. I think that's pretty obvious, but I would go as far to say two of the best flyweights in Pennsylvania and even the East Coast, Amy. So this is a matchup that I think title worthy. The skill level is going to be super high. And I know you're not looking past Tarik, obviously, but what do you see for your career after this one? Let's hypothetically say you move to 4-0. What are you looking to do after that?
Just keep on getting better, honestly. Take it as far as I can. That's what I've always said from the start of this. So, just keep grinding, keep getting better. That's whatever falls into place from there, let the cards lay.
Yeah, I know obviously some fighters like Lucas and guys like that kind of map out their whole year plan. Do you look that far in advance? Do you try to see like I guess really what I'm trying to ask is like is a UFC career on your radar? Is that something that you're like, I want to be a UFC fighter? Is this just like you're taking it one step at a time and kind of whatever happens, happens?
Kind of just taking it one step at a time. Just gonna try and follow Will and Mike's plan for me to get another fight before the end of the year, and then grind a couple more next year, and see how far we can take it.
I love that. I love that. We got Zoe Edie in the chat. Little smushy Hugo Edie's mom here. You did great. You did great last time, Drizzy. You got this. So see all the support already.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Thank you, Joe.
That's beautiful. Well, dude, I'm gonna let you get back to your busy day. What else? What's the rest of the night look like for you? Like, what are you gonna do after
I'm
this?
about to actually like go grab something to eat and then go down the strip and hit a training session.
If by grab something to eat, do you mean a pack of tuna? Like, what are we talking?
I think I actually might just grab like a Cliff Bar and a Powerade, and then I'll hit the tuna when I get home.
Nice. You gotta have that dessert tuna. I understand, dude. I understand. But yeah, man, thanks for carving out some time to chat. I know obviously the people are crazy jazzed about this fight, as are we, and appreciate you pushing it. Selling tickets, bringing your people out. This is going to be an absolute banger way to end the year. So we can't wait for it, bro.
Absolutely, super stoked. Can't wait.
All right, man. Go enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for hopping on.
All right, thanks, Hunter. Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. Peace.
All right, see you.
So that was Zach Drzemiecki, ladies and gentlemen, in the flesh. Mustache just as beautiful as I had hoped. You saw his ridiculous knockout of the year contender against Gabe Cruz. And yeah, I mean, that knockout kind of speaks for itself, the kind of power this guy possesses. And worth noting that all three of his fights, he's 3-0, all three of them have come by finish. So this is a dude who shows up not just to win, but to win impressively and finish the fight. So he is a featured bout, obviously, like we talked about. This is a huge fight on this December 21st card, Brawl on the Burgh 25 at the Monroeville Convention Center. And he's way up the card. That's a banger. Jared Billy correctly pointing out that there was only one F-bomb from Drizzy, and I highly recommend, if you guys haven't seen it yet, go to YouTube and type in 247 Fighting Championships Zach Drzemiecki and watch his post-fight interview after his knockout of the year contender. And you've probably never seen a human being that excited in your life. And you're going to really enjoy it. So while we wait on Tarik to get in here, I think he's joining us around 4:30, he said. So hopefully he can get in with no problems and everything. But we're going to get Tarik in here around 4:30. But in the meantime, let's talk about this card in general. Let's talk about this Brawl on the Burgh 25 fight card. I'm just going to pull up the list right here. This is a really interesting fight card for us guys because obviously it's loaded. First of all, we'll get into some behind the scenes stuff for you guys, some factual side backstage business stuff, I guess you could say. You can only have 14 fights on an MMA card in Pennsylvania. That's dictated by the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission, not us. We did actually have 16 on a card one time. It was last April, I believe, Brawl on the Burgh 16. And that got shut down after that because it creates a long night. It creates a lot of work for everybody. And we're back to the 14 fight maximum rule. So we're actually looking to have all 14 spots filled on this card. When it comes to December 21st, we want to have 14 for you. So we actually had 14 signed and lost a fighter, but it was a fight that we hadn't even announced yet. So you guys never knew about it to begin with. And right now it doesn't exist again, but we're working to refill it to get that 14th fight for you guys. So at the top, Ethan Goss versus Chris Rollins for the 247 professional lightweight title. That's, for me, these are the matchups that just get you so excited. Ethan's a guy for us who is obviously the first ever pro champ in 247 history. He has both the featherweight and the lightweight titles, which is just insane for a guy to do. And he's just getting better with age. And Ryan Middleton, the owner, promoter, he may say Ethan's getting uglier with age, but I think the performances are just getting more and more beautiful every time. So that's out of Gorilla House in Altoona. Ethan's on a tear right now, and he has a really insanely tough test with Chris Rollins, who just defeated Ethan Hayes, another guy, no stranger to the 247 cage or, the local combat sports scene in general. He's been around. He's an OG, kind of done it all in the scene. And Rollins just defeated Hayes by decision in Hayes' hometown, Morgantown, West Virginia, where he's kind of like the king of Morgantown when he fights, especially. So it's a super tough fight. And Rollins obviously has a little size on Ethan. Dude's like 6'1". He's a super lanky lightweight, super lanky, powerful boxer, pretty slick jiu-jitsu, good takedown defense. He's a guy that's a problem no matter where the fight goes. And Ethan's at a point in his career, I feel like, he's defended the title a few times for us. He's 11-6 now, not getting any younger, but it looks like the last thing he wants to check off is that call up to a higher promotion, obviously, ideally the UFC. And he knows that he needs to make a statement in this fight to get that, like a win. He's been winning. So a win doesn't necessarily guarantee it. You can't just win. You need to win impressively. The UFC is so insanely dialed in right now. The level of talent in the UFC is like never before. I mean, the amount of people they have not only to choose from, but also the number of events they have. So they're just able to cycle through guys and try to always find the next great star, the next great star, the next great star. So I feel like the guys they're looking for need to be super impressive to make that cut. So that's Ethan's task on December 21st is going to be not just to win, but to win impressively. And literally everything I just said about Ethan can be transferred to Rollins as well. He's in almost an identical boat of Ethan, putting together a crazy winning streak now, kind of hitting his prime, hitting his stride, I guess you could say. And he knows he needs to not just beat Ethan by decision, but finish him and win the 247 title and also just cement himself as the dude on the East Coast, pro 155er. Like, I'm the guy. Just beat Ethan Hayes, now beat Ethan Goss. Like, I'm the guy. So he has that opportunity. And I think that makes for an extremely exciting fight. And co-main event, we got 2 title fights this night, and Tarik just joined, so that's awesome. I'm gonna tag you in just a second, Tarik, after I preview this fight as well. We have Evan DeRusi versus Artis Smith, and if you guys watched the podcast last week, you heard from both of them, which was an incredible chat with both of them, man. I straight up, yeah, as a promoter on the business side of things, you should never be biased towards fighters, but I straight up love both of those dudes. They're awesome to work with. Their teams are awesome. Their mentality's awesome. They get all their paperwork done on time, and then they fight like absolute demons. I mean, there's nothing to not like, and they're just awesome outside the cage too. So it's an honor to host a fight like that between 2 fighters who genuinely deserve it. 2 of the best welterweights in Pennsylvania, Amy, obviously. And the winner of that's going to genuinely be ready to be a pro, I would say. That winning the 247 AMI title that's what we try to have it signify. We try to let it say, you have the 247 AMI title, you're ready to go pro now. So that's kind of the path those 2 are on, and that's killer. But we do have Tarik in here. He's off screen now, so I'm going to wait. Oh, I am going to add him. He's back. He made it. What's up, dude?
Hi, how are you?
That was so chill. Hi, how are you? I appreciate that. What's up, man?
Nothing, just chilling in the house.
Nice.
I'm kind of nervous. I've never done one of these before.
No way. This is your first podcast ever?
Yeah.
Dude, come on. So this is kind of funny. So A, you have absolutely nothing to be nervous about. I promise this is going to be super easy. But B, you've been fighting. I saw you made your debut in 2020, and I was like, how's that even possible? Because you seem so young to me still. The fact that you've made your debut in 2020, where you were just 18, I assume, when you made your debut?
Yeah, I fought like as soon as I turned 18 because I was training since I was like 14. So as soon as I turned 18, me and Don talked, and he was like, yeah, get in there. So just I went and did it.
That's sick, man. So for people who maybe don't know Tarik's background, but he's trained by Don Caker at Personal Training Tactics, a true OG in Pittsburgh MMA. So I want to start there. How did you end up with Don to start?
I moved to Carrick with my mom when I was like maybe I think I was like 10, and then started going to Southbrook, and I met this kid named Jake, and me and him actually fought each other. He beat the hell out of me. I can't lie, crushed me. And we were playing UFC one day because like usual dudes became friends after the fight, and he was like, "Yeah, bro, I do MMA in real life too, right?" And I was like, "For real?" He was like, "Yeah, you want to come to my gym with me?" And I was like, "Sure. Where is it?" Right down the street from my house. And then I went there, got beat up, and then the rest is history. I just stayed there.
I think it says a lot about you, man, right off the bat, because so many people with training, everybody gets beat up at first of all. Like nobody is just good at fighting right away. Like it just doesn't happen. But what made you want to come back? I always think that's interesting with fighters who do stick it out and find something they love. As a 14-year-old, getting beat up is not the coolest thing ever. So what made you want to go back?
Uh, if I'm being 100% honest, I have to give a lot of credit to my coach. I wasn't really like the coolest kid when I was young. I did a lot of dumb things, a lot of bad and illegal things, and Don always did his best to keep me on the right path, and the best way he could do that was by keeping me in the gym, and thankfully I'm a better man today because of it. So
That's
shout
freaking
out
awesome,
Don.
man. Yeah. Shout out Don. He deserves all the shout outs, man. That gym was sick. We were just, well, I say just there, but that was months and months ago at this point. But it's a cool place. Was a cool place, I should say. That's super sad. Obviously, this is one thing we got to get into. What For people who don't know, like Don's gym recently burnt down, and that obviously created a situation for you guys where you had to find somewhere else to train in the meantime. And from what I understand, it's not 100% that Don's going to be reopening a place like within the next year. Nobody really knows the timeline from what I understand. So what did that do for you in your preparation? Like how did you decide how to transition out of there?
Uh, at first, a lot of the guys from the gym, we just our coach Andy, he has a mat space in his garage, and first day there, we showed up. It was like maybe 8 of us in like a 10 by 10 little room with mat space, and we were just doing 2 on, 2 off, and just kept going and cycling. That's really how it started. And we were like, hey, we still got to fight, man. Let's get the name out there, get PTT's name out there, and we felt confident, and we just kept doing it. And I've been working with a lot of other gyms. Like I've been with Kama Worthy down at the academy. He's been super helpful, because he's been getting me to and from there. It's not the easiest drive for me from Carrick, and he really helps out.
That's awesome, man. I honestly didn't know that. Calm is obviously a guy that we're intimately familiar with at 247. He's a legend, been our champ before, fights for us constantly. One of the Pittsburgh MMA legends, had one of the most successful UFC runs. I think he and Josh Frem both won twice in the UFC, so that's pretty sick, pretty crazy tradition for him. And for you to be linked up with him, it's all good company, man. And that kind of speaks to Pittsburgh's MMA scene in general. I feel like you guys do look out for each other and try to help each other. So what has that feeling of support been like since obviously the tragedy struck Don's gym?
It's honestly kind of wild. I can't lie. I mean, I've been just moving around, going to a lot of places, and honestly, people know my name that I had no idea knew my name. They're like, "Yeah, hi, Tarik, nice to meet you," and I'm like, "Oh, hey, I know you," and it's crazy. I didn't expect that as many people knew me as they did, and there's a ton of guys out there that like I'm super cool with now, like Justin Patton, Elijah Davis. I met a heavyweight guy named Julian. We were all sparring like not too long ago. It's been pretty good. I've been meeting a lot of good fighters, a lot of high level coaches, and it's fun.
That's
Different
crazy, man.
experience. I used to
Yeah.
only be in Carrick, and I'm moving around. I'm meeting a lot of new people, and it's nice.
It's cool, man. I obviously, it's not a reason that anybody would ever hope for, but does getting these different looks kind of make you think like this is probably something that you needed anyway, or like how do you take this as more of a blessing?
Uh, it's always nice to get the new looks, but it's also been kind of like validating because I really struggle with confidence when it comes to like fighting and like belief and skill. And I don't know, going around and just like working with other people, it's and getting to see like, oh wow, I am good at this, I can do these things. It's not just me in a fucking small gym doing these on the people I know. We are actually like really good. And it's also nice to be able to like move around and show that how high level, PTT and Donnie's training is, and that's been really helping. And getting all those looks and building new levels of skill in different sectors, it's very nice, especially at Kama's gym, man. That dude is the timing he has is crazy. He's trying to get me right, but man, I just keep getting punched in the face.
That's the best comic quote ever. He's trying to get me right, but I just keep getting punched in the face. It's funny to hear you say that, the validation aspect, because I do think that PTT is a gym that has always flown under the radar for absolutely. I don't know why, actually. I can't pinpoint why, but everybody knows that the fighters out of there are absolute dogs. Like, I think I'll at least speak from our side. Like, the reputation is always the PTT guys are going to be super high quality. They're going to be tough as nails, and they're going to be a problem for anybody that they face. Like, everybody kind of knew that about PTT always, but it also has always flown under the radar for whatever reason. So, what does that feel like for you, being able to kind of fly that flag and, like you said, be out there competing with the more known names and more than holding your own, I'm sure?
I can't lie. It's a lot of pressure, man. So it weighs a little heavy sometimes, but I just do my best. And the closer I get to the fight, the better I feel. It's just
That's
always that like impending doom feeling as you're approaching, but the more I practice, the more I train, the better it gets.
for sure, man. We got Bobby Murda, Ferdoz Naimi in the chat. He said number one problem, probably in reference to Kama Worthy. I would say he's calling Kama a number one problem
Yeah.
to spar with. I'm sure it's kind of funny you said that, man, because I've heard from so many people who spar with Kama, and they all say that about his timing and his range being like impossible to figure out. What do you think from your perspective, now that you've been on the other end of those punches a little more often than you'd want? What do you think makes Kama so special on the feet?
He's just really good at setting traps and making reads. Like, he sees when you're making little mistakes. Like, if you ever lean towards his power side, he's not going to let you get away with it. He's going to capitalize. Like, it was the first time I rolled with somebody who was like elite at MMA. You roll with an elite grappler. The second they grab you, you can feel that they're elite, like high level. It was like that for MMA. Like, every little mistake is capitalized on. When he's stepping somewhere, he's not just stepping, it's intentional. He's cutting you off. When he's punching you on your shoulder, it's because he's trying to take an angle and cut off that side. And then he's going to capitalize on the next thing you do. He reads your habits. It's just a next level of MMA. You know what I mean? It was that UFC level. And it was my first experience with that. And I mean, from what limited time I've had with him, that's what I could gauge. And it incomprehensible to me at this point, but I'm working on it.
That's huge, man. I love hearing that. So for you, we had Drizzy on the podcast right before you. He was talking about the fight, but we kind of mentioned this, and I want to get your perspective on it too. Like, how are you viewing your fight career? Do you want to go to the UFC? Is this a career for you? Like, how do you take all this in?
Yeah, I've always really wanted to go to the UFC. I've always had like dreams of one day being a world champion, and I can't lie, on my part, I've always kind of like slacked on, the disciplinary side of things, but I feel like the fire at my gym has been like, a big motivating factor. It's like, yeah, bro, you either got to do this or you're going to fold. And I've always kind of been like scared to compete, but I've been getting over that a lot recently, and it's like, win or lose, just go out there and mix, have fun.
Well, there's no doubt you're going to do that, man. And one of your teammates is in the chat right now, Luke Panchek, saying
Luke the Nuke.
Tarik is one of the most well-rounded fighters I know. Going to put on a show for sure. Let's go.
My boy.
That's awesome, man. I love seeing the teammate support and everything in the chat. That's seriously beautiful to see. But for you, we talked with Drizzy about this as well. What's it like? Because obviously you've sold some tickets already as well and have this fan teammate support and everything. What does that add for you on fight night in terms of pressure? Because I always see it going both ways.
It always feels like it's going to be a lot of pressure, but my third fight, actually, my fourth, it was against Dylan Garaci. Like, the entire Panchak family was there because me and my boy Luke were on the same card. It was his first title defense. And I'm not going to lie, I was really nervous before I walked out. But, when you're in there and then they say your name, you hear them like scream. You're like, damn, bro, that's pretty cool, and it makes you feel good. So it's always nervous before, but once you get there, it's pretty cool.
That's beautiful, man. I love that. And honestly, dude, I've loved seeing you at 247 shows. I think, you've never fought for us, but you've been at so many shows that I feel like you've been part of the 247 family for a while. Like, what do you like about a regional MMA show? What keeps bringing you out even when you're not competing?
Well, I can't lie. A big part of bringing me out is super fan Gary Lewis. Got to give him a shout out. He's a big
There it
sponsor for
is.
one of my fights, and always a good dude. Has always helped me out in every way he can, and he always drags me out for good shows. He's like, "Hey, man, got to come out. There's a great show," and always got to do it. You can't say no to Gary when it comes to MMA.
Dude, I gotta say, you mentioned comma setting traps. That was absolutely me setting a trap to get you to shout out Gary Lewis, and it worked perfectly.
I promised him I would. It was gonna happen.
He deserved it. He 100% deserves it. Yeah,
Yes,
Gary
sir.
Lewis, one of the best dudes. But I do gotta say, seeing you at the shows, it cracks me up that you mentioned that you kind of had a confidence issue or like a belief issue because you always look so on point at the shows. You got the drip going. You got like a confidence about you that it surprises me to hear you say that that's kind of an issue for you. So how do you work through that? Like how do you handle that on a not just day-to-day basis, but specifically with fighting?
I can't lie, brother. I go out there and do it. I'm terrified until the ref asks, "You ready?" And then I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I'm ready." And then I just go out there and do my thing. I'm literally scared the whole time, though, bro. I swear, it's all a facade. Like when I fought Elijah Davis, a big part of that was me and him were talking to each other. At first, I wasn't even talking to him. I was talking to myself. I hit him and I was like, "Oh, come on." And I said a bad word, but I was really talking to me. I was like, "Stop being scared. You could hit him." And
Nice. That's crazy, man.
The whole time.
You just said you were training with Elijah a little too, right?
Yeah, super cool dude, man.
Yeah.
Great wrestling.
How's it feel to be? You guys are on a card together now. It's kind of funny. You guys have fought each other, now trained together, now on a card together, but not against each other. Is going to be a cool moment for you to be there with him backstage?
Yeah, we might as well be teammates for real. We're both G-Lu certified fighters, so basically are.
That's freaking awesome. Elijah is the man, dude. We're excited to have him back for sure. But for you specifically, man, 3-1, like you said, you lost that fight to Elijah, but probably out of your weight class, if we're being honest. You're a tinier guy at 25. And what did that fight teach you? What did taking that loss do for you?
That fight was actually a big part in teaching me to be confident because I was very worried about my cardio that whole fight, and then third round comes along and I'm like, wow, I'm fresh. I feel like I'm ready to go because I emphasize cardio the whole camp. So it's just about going in there and trusting my skills. That fight taught me a lot about that, and obviously it going the decision, it was like, yeah, that played into it too. It's like, you got to do your thing, bro. Just go in there and leave it all on the table,
It's cool, man. And I think amateur is definitely the time to learn these lessons. Like, you're doing it at the right pace. You're taking steps up in competition each time, which I think is also super important. And obviously when you're winning more than you're losing, like you are, that makes it a little sweeter. But this one coming up, man, against Drzemiecki, when you saw this name come across, like, what was your first reaction to this fight?
I actually expected it. I was at the card where he knocked bro out with the left hand, and I was sitting right next to my boy Justin, and I looked at him. I was like, I guarantee you, when I talk to Hunter, if he offers me a guy, it's gonna be this dude. And then, you were like, hey, you want to fight Zach? I was like, yep, sure, let's do it.
I mean, flyweight is a super thin division to begin with, and then locally it's even thinner. It kind of just made sense. The cards fell in everybody's favor with this one. So what about this matchup? Obviously, like you just said, you saw his power firsthand, but what about this matchup gets you fired up?
I'm just excited to, get the name out there for PTT. He's a 3-0 guy, he's well known. It's honestly nothing personal. I've never met the guy, but he looks like a good fighter, looks like a good name, and I feel like it's going to be a good competition. I look forward to competing.
Yeah, that's beautiful answer, man. And Luke mentioned it earlier, but you're known as a really well-rounded fighter. Excuse me. What do you think people who maybe haven't seen you fight before, how would you describe your style? Like, what do you think of yourself as a fighter?
Adaptable and smart.
Great answers, man. When do you think the smart aspect started coming in? Because that's a really interesting thing. I hear a lot of fighters talk about, you're kind of born with it to a degree, but it's also something that's super coachable. So how do you think you develop this smart aspect to your fighting?
Well, a big part of it was the philosophy of my coaches. Don, his MMA system emphasizes position and control before submission, and it teaches always having a way out or something else to go to whenever you're attacking something. So that in and of itself is a big way to think. Same with my jiu-jitsu coach's system. And I don't know, man. I was small, 14 years old, fighting grown men. There really wasn't no way to do it other than smart. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
either smart or get crushed. So
I love that they just kind of threw you to the fire right away, but I feel like that's a good way to learn too, man, and also proves what you're made of really early. So we talked about kind of how you kept coming back and how it was very important to you, but did you think about quitting? Like, was quitting ever an option for you?
I mean, I definitely I wouldn't say I thought about it, but I definitely looked at myself sometimes and was like, yo, it would be so much easier to just not go to the gym. I honestly, if it wasn't for Dawn, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. I do love the sport. I love competing, but when I was young, I had a lot of things trying to pull me away from the gym, and Dawn did a really good job of keeping me in there and keeping me on a straight and narrow.
Man, I love hearing that so much. That's freaking beautiful. And you mentioned, some of the other people chipping in to help you out with this fight camp while Don deals with that. But a guy that we haven't talked about yet, Chris Williams. What's
Yeah.
working with Chris been like? One of only 247 Hall of Famers. So let's go.
Yeah, he's really good. I like working with his striking system. It's been teaching me like a lot of things that I haven't been like always the best at, like maintaining my position and just things like that. He's very, very good as a coach. He gives me good looks. He breaks down the people you're fighting. He kind of tries to give you an idea of what you're going into before you go into it.
Yeah,
It's always nice to get different looks from different people.
for sure. He's a very cerebral guy. I think it's a little underrated, actually, to a degree because of not going to stereotype him, but his thick Pittsburgh accent kind of makes people think he's maybe not as smart as he is. But he's a crazy intelligent guy, especially when it comes to fighting, and he's a wizard at that. So we've seen it time and again with the guys that he works with, and it's true, man. I'm excited to see what his imprint will do on you as well. And I think it kind of begs the question, you got a guy like Don who also has a system that's tried and true. And now you're working with a guy like Chris Williams or even Kama. How are you able to adapt, those learning styles and make them blend and work versus I could see them maybe clashing as well? Like, how are you able to make sure that they mesh instead of clash?
You kind of just have to pick and pull what really works with your style. Because the way I view training is people can teach you things, and it's always good to have things in your arsenal and practice them, but not everything's going to be for you, but it's always nice to have a tool in the shed in case you need it. You're not going to use a sledgehammer on every project, but sometimes you got to break some shit. You know what I mean? So
Love that.
Definitely.
That's a great analogy. It's a great analogy, dude. I wanted to make sure you got to see Shane Nuttall's comment there. Fight IQ at 100. Let's go, Tarik.
My boy.
Yeah.
That's funny. I got all the
Nuttall.
homies tuning in. I didn't think they'd be here. That's cool.
There you go, dude. We bring him out. Another 247 vet who made a freaking statement in his 247 fight as well.
My boy,
Crazy knockout.
But murderer's coming up. Certified killer.
He does, dude. He fights the best of the best. And
I
one thing,
swear to God, bro.
Crazy. I gotta ask, how does that dude make 35? When I saw he was moving to 35, I'm like, there's just no way. And then he did. I'm like, how's this possible?
Discipline, bro. He's one of the most disciplined dudes I know. I don't know what it is. He'll be chilling, and then the next day he'll come in. He'll be like, "Yeah, bro, I'm locked in. I quit doing this and this. I'm drinking. I'm on a diet." He really gets to it. That's probably his biggest thing. He can lock in and outwork you any day.
Something to be said for that, right? You've got the talent versus work ethic, and I think, as everybody knows, where really special things happen are when they collide. So that's beautiful, man, when you see it happen. So obviously he's another part of that whole PTT crew that we talk about. When you see one of those fighters come across as your opponent, man, you're in for a dogfight, and that you're going to fight somebody who's not only technical but very tough as well. So this fight specifically, man, you versus Drizzy, has the entire Pittsburgh landscape very excited, us very excited, and we're honored to have you, man. I'm super excited to run this on December 21st.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm very honored to be there.
Hell yeah, man. Well, we'll talk soon. We'll see you for weigh-ins very soon, but I'm sure we'll be touching base well before that as well. But I'm going to let you get on with your night, dude. And you killed your first podcast experience. Look at this. How easy was that?
It wasn't very easy. I'm still shaking a little bit.
Well, next one will be better, dude.
I'll try.
You did great, though, for real, man. You were awesome. I appreciate you jumping on. And like I said, everybody's stoked about this fight. Let's keep pushing this thing and put on a show December 21st.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Have a great night.
All right, brother. You too. Later, man.
Later.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. As you could tell, it's just slowly gotten more dark on me here. I have my window open and don't have a light because I am Amish apparently up here, and don't know why I don't have a light, but I don't. So it's just slowly getting darker. But that was Tarik Smith. He's freaking awesome, dude. I love this chat. Drizzy and Tarik, both really good dudes, as I expected. Super fun guys, and even more fun inside the cage. You know, if you guys haven't seen their fights yet, you're in for an absolute treat on December 21st. So my wife must have heard me complaining about the light. It's beautiful. Thank you. That's hilarious. So we got some light. December 21st, Brawl in the Burgh 25, taking over the Monroeville Convention Center. I mean, we're crazy stoked about this lineup. As I said, kind of in between the two fighters, totally stacked card. You know, we're looking at 14 fights. We have 13 fully signed right now, a 14th that fell off. Like I said, it was a fight that wasn't even announced yet, so you didn't know about it. Nothing to get upset about, but we're trying to replace it to get back to that 14. And it's going to be a banger night. And this fight between Drizzy and Tarik Smith is a huge reason why. So get your tickets at 247fighting.com. Some good seats still available, but the front row is selling like extremely fast. So that's something that you're going to want to do. If you want to be in the front row, you better do that like right now, or you're not going to be able to. And obviously a lot of seats otherwise. Worth noting, at the Monroeville Convention Center, all the seats are at a table, so you will have a nice table spot. There's 6 seats to a table. So if you want to buy a whole table for you and your crew, get 6 seats at the same table and you're good to go. We have Jensen Walls. I have 1.5 years until I'm 18 and can cage fight. How do I get on with you guys? It's a great question. First off, very cool that you're putting in that work and even thinking about making a debut at 16.5 years old. That's really sick. I'm sure you're killing it. We have a link in our bio to apply to fight. It's called the MMA Fighter Information Form. You fill out some basic questions, you know, your age, your height, your weight, your rank in BJJ, if you have a rank, your coach, where you're from, all that good stuff. Basic info, you fill that out, and then you're in our system. And when we start matching fights, we reference those responses and see who filled it out. Yeah, man. Obviously, you do have to be 18 to fight MMA in Pennsylvania. So once you turn 18, we'll look to get you on. But in the meantime, you could potentially fight Muay Thai or grapple for us, which we're going to have plenty of opportunities for those things as well. Obviously, December 21st, Brawl in the Burgh 25 is next up for us. It's going to be an absolute banger of a card. Monroeville Convention Center. We can't wait for that. But then just around the corner, guys, it's finally here. I'm sure you've seen it already on social media, but it's finally here on February 1st. Sunny Days Arena at the venue, our new permanent multi-purpose event space, is here in North Versailles, Pennsylvania. Brawl in the Burgh 26 is going to go down February 1st. And holy crap, it's finally here. We are so excited for this space. We were just there today. The progress is amazing. What they're doing with this space is amazing. You guys, it's going to be awesome for fans, for us, for the fighters, for coaches, for everybody. You know, this is going to change the game. We genuinely believe that. So after December 21st, we're rolling full steam ahead. February 1st to the grand opening, Sunny Days Arena at the venue. So let's go. It's going to be not only MMA, but we're also going to have Muay Thai there. We're going to have grappling there. We're going to have boxing. We're going to eventually have concerts and comedy shows and expo type shows. It's a multi-purpose event space, not just a fight space, but it is going to be Pittsburgh's home to combat sports, and that's the plan. We had a really productive meeting today there with an outside organization to have a show there, and I feel really good about that. You guys are going to be super excited about that when we announce it. So the beginning of the year, February, March, April, getting really booked up already, and we're looking to close out 2025 there, just keep stacking events from all over. So excited to have you guys along for the ride. Obviously, like we said, first up, Brawl in the Burgh 25, December 21st. Let's have some fun, ladies and gentlemen. Get your tickets, 247fighting.com. Can't wait to see you there. Take care, everyone.